Hello, if you're watching this, you're watching not the live show, but after the live show. But we'll just wait for a few people to join in here in a minute and get going. But today's herb of the week that we'll be discussing is red clover. So probably a little ways in, we'll get going on that. But we'll give people a minute to join. So, just waiting to see people show up here. And in the meantime, I'm going to see if I could get my computer to pull it up. And that's going to take a second as well. There's probably a little bit of a delay. Hi, Coco. How are you? And I think someone else is in here too. I'm actually trying to just get my computer to pull this up right now as well, because I'm doing this on my cell phone. So, let's try this again. There we go. Okay, we have, I think, one person in the room so far. How have you been, Coco? Hope you've had a good week and not too cold. Although it was way too snowy this week. But we'll just wait for a few people to come in and see before we really get started. And Mike will be joining us soon too. Hi, Lois Ann. How are you doing? And give it a few minutes here. So my fellow Michiganians in the room. How much snow did you guys get this week? Yeah, Christmas rush is right, Coco. We got that coming. And apparently Helix wants to join us again. We're doing pretty good. We're definitely keeping busy. And the cat is wanting to join in today. Mike will be joining us in a little bit. Hey, Helix. Hi, Finite World. Good evening. So we're just waiting for people to come in. We'll be going through a little bit what's going on this week. You guys Lois Ann had 10 to 12 inches. I think we were in that range as well. We had 10 to 12 inches, but most of it melted off this weekend. So far, it's not completely melted, definitely, but it will be in the next couple days. I hear we're going to get into the 40s, so yeah. Helix likes to be the center of attention at times. So 12 inches by Coco. I think we got less than they predicted, though. We still have a lot. I think we probably still have about 4 or 5 inches left. There are a couple spots in the yard that seem to melt faster than others, so there are a couple of areas where you can actually see grass. But we definitely have probably about 4 inches left. But yeah, Finite World, did you get much snow where you're at? We definitely got ton of it this week. I think the most we got was maybe 12 inches, maybe a little less. Yeah, I am closer to the lake too, but a lot of times the snow belts off the lake end up just north of us. So sometimes we don't actually get a direct hit, but definitely get probably more than a little bit east of us. So, and we got a few people in here. You're 30 minutes from the lake. So am I. Actually, maybe 40 minutes from the lake. About 40 minutes from South Haven. And I know South Haven and Holland, I think, got hit a lot harder. Finite World got 4 to 5 inches. Was that on top of something else? I missed that part. Yeah, it just kept... Okay, cat got scared. It just kept coming. It was the first one we were supposed to get up to a foot. We probably got 6 inches, but then it kept snowing after that. Still no melt with you guys at all? Okay, well, we were about 38 today, so it definitely started melting today. 9 inches for the week on the other side of the state. Yeah, it's probably more. I actually didn't even ask my parents what they got in Ann Arbor, so we had a little bit of melt. I mean, we had probably half of ours melt today. but I think I'm probably the furthest south of all of us. So we might have been a little bit warmer, but I think we're supposed to hit 40 tomorrow. So yeah, I'm definitely south of Loisan because I'm down by Kalamazoo area. So I think we're probably just warm enough to start melting it. Yep. But so we had the snow. We did get one video up this week. I have one more to go in the holiday cooking series, but we got the goose and turkey video up this week. So if you guys are interested on how to cook a goose, if you're planning on doing that at all for Christmas, that might be, it's an idea for a traditional, especially European Christmas. They often do goose. But we cooked ours for Thanksgiving, so I got to video Mike doing that. And that went up, I think, 2 days ago. It took me a long time to go through all the footage to get all of it. But the next one, which is halfway done, is going to be on how to make a pan gravy. So that will go with everything else together. So I'm missing something. Good job putting up, oh, probably vids instead of bids. Videos. Need to visit the channel. Yeah, I mean, I only really got the one this week. But I have 2 more to make. So I haven't recorded anything new in the last couple of weeks, but I have one more in the holiday cooking series. In fact, I could probably do a bloopers video for the holiday cooking series too, but we'll see. Maybe if I'm low on other content, I might do that. But then I also have a update to the coop, the chicken coop. Just before all our snow started hitting, like that 60-degree weekend, I made some modifications to our winter coop. So I do have a video for that I need to edit that I'll put up in a week or two. You want the bloopers video? It's really mainly, kids running through in the background, or the cat showing up, or just random things. So, or my nephew not really helping with the video, because I was trying to get some of the nieces and nephews to, be a part of it a little bit, but 5-year-old boys have their mind on just different things that come out of the body, and that's all he would say. So that was fun. I was trying to get him to say, "Hi, I'm Taylor. This is Part-Time Permies," or whatever, and he goes, "Nope." Didn't work, but we got a little bit with Holly, and I did get that in there a couple videos ago. But they're fun. The interesting thing is my parents were the only ones that would eat the goose. I have one sister who won't eat anything that she has met. So that's unfortunate, because the goose was really good. Hey, Papa, how are you? And you had some snow in North Carolina this week too, didn't you guys? We definitely had a bunch up here. But yeah, as far as going back to eating the goose, it's actually one of my favorite. Goose and duck, as long as the skin's crispy, it's really good. I think we talked about that last week a little bit, but one of my sisters she's scared to eat chicken in my house because she thinks we're going to serve chicken that we grew on our property, and she doesn't want to have met anything she's eaten, unfortunately, because it's definitely a lot tastier, and she's probably right that if she eats chicken at our house, it's probably one that came from our flock. But oh well. So Papa's the only one in the room who dodged all the snow. Oh boy. Anyway, we do have a couple holidays coming up. So I did want to mention to you guys that next week, of course, Sunday is Christmas Eve. We will not be doing a live show then. The week after Sunday will be New Year's Eve. And we're probably not going to do a live show that weekend either. We might be able to. I still haven't decided about that one, so I'll let you guys know. I'll definitely post a little thing up there saying, whether or not we'll be doing it on New Year's Eve, but I don't know how many plans all of you guys have for that too. And Bobblehead's here. Hi. No snow down there either. Well, yeah. You got lucky because the snow did dip down pretty far. a lot of places that don't normally see it. Um, yeah. Okay, so Coco said Uncle refuses to eat anything that touched chicken. Huh. Well, my family's, well, not my whole family. My parents definitely like eating the food that we raise on property. Um, I have one sister that's just a picky eater, and the other sister who doesn't like to know the animals that she's eating. So, can't do much about that. She thinks I'm crazy for even being involved in the slaughter of the chickens and the goose. We do it on property for ourselves. So, I did have some problems with it not problems, but I didn't want to be there when Mike actually slit the neck of the animals. I did help with the processing every time, but I did. It was a little bit hard because one of the chickens, the very first time we did a slaughter, one of the chickens got loose and Mike couldn't catch it. It was a silky, and I caught it. So I felt bad having to hand it back to Mike to be slaughtered after chasing it around. But that's another story. And Wendy's here from Nova Scotia. Cold, but not much snow. We definitely got it here. So you name them lunch and dinner. Well, we named the goose that we ate, we named Christmas. And it didn't really, I don't try to name the animals that I'm going to be slaughtering. It's just some of them inevitably get names. The ones that I'm keeping may get names, like Lucky and Gus, because they're guard geese for my flocks. They're not going to be slaughtered, so I don't mind naming them. But we started calling the third goose Christmas, because we're thinking we're going to eat them for Christmas, so we just started calling him Christmas. And I think it was a her, because she was a little smaller than the other two. But yeah, we try not to name the animals unless they're going to be sticking around. Just going to catch up on chat here. Okay. Oh my gosh. He can't grill for him if chicken's ever been on the grill. That's interesting. I've never met someone who, well, I mean, I guess some vegans and things maybe would have an issue with that, but I haven't had an issue with that. So I'm wondering, Bob Homestead, hello. I'm trying to see if I missed anyone else entering in. I think I got Wendy, hello. Lois and Discovery, hey there. So yeah, we're getting a crowd going, so that's cool. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm trying to get back on thought. Mike will be joining us eventually here. He actually has to write a final exam for the culinary class he's teaching, so he's trying to finish that up because the exam is tomorrow. Once that's done, he doesn't have another culinary class next semester, so that'll be nice. He thinks chickens are dirty birds. Saw them eat their poop when he was young. Well, okay, but that's the point of cooking them. I get it. I eat chicken. And the chickens are not the cleanest birds. And frankly, if I ever hold them, wash hands, wash up completely. I have actually once gotten sick, I think, from a chicken, but that was when we were moving the chickens and I had one actually poop on me. And I did wash my hands and everything, but we went and ate dinner afterwards after I washed my hands. But I think it was still on my clothes, so I got sick that night. So they are dirty, but that's the reason why you cook them completely too. Now whenever I move the chickens, if I'm picking them up, holding them or anything like that, I will change my clothes, wash my hands before doing anything else. So learn my lesson there. But staying warm. You know what? We're going above freezing, Papa. We're going, I think tomorrow here we're going to hit 40 and be above freezing for half the week, and then actually all week, and then go back below on Saturday next weekend. But yeah, Mom forced him to eat chicken as a boy. Okay. Well, you can only control so much. There are certain foods I don't like, although I've actually started experimenting with more foods as an adult than I ever would have as a kid. But my whole thought is I will try almost anything. I've tried some weird things, but I will not necessarily finish it if I don't like it. Some things I will not finish are things like raw onions. Not my thing. If they're caramelized, they're okay. But raw, I cannot stand. So they get pulled off my food. But, yeah. So, yeah, I have eaten some weird things, but it's because we went to a Malaysian restaurant in Chinatown in New York City when we lived in New York. And it's my favorite restaurant. In fact, we were actually invited to Malaysia from a person sitting at the table next to us because we went and ordered a ton of food because we just really wanted to try a little bit of everything, including fish head soup. And she was very surprised that these, white Americans were ordering fish head soup. So it was really good. But so I did continue eating that one. But there's probably a few things on that fish head I probably wouldn't eat. But that was a turducken thing. Yeah, I would try that, but I like my meats as is, I guess. So I've eaten duck, I've eaten turkey, I've eaten, chicken. Whether I have to mix those, that's fine. But yeah, so we've had some interesting foods. I have never eaten an insect. I could give you that one. That on purpose anyway. Making snow angels barefoot with grandchildren. Oh my gosh. Yes, I think I saw a little bit of that. I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch many videos, but I did see that video came across. My dog we used to call him the Saint Angels because he would just go rolling in the snow because he was a Saint Bernard and he loved it. But we no longer have him. So, yeah. You've been searching for stronger onions. No, thank you. Give me maybe some scallions. I could take those raw a little bit, but no. So, yeah. No, it is fun to play in the snow. I haven't had, that is one thing I'm missing. Having dogs forced me outside more. So we're going to have to get more dogs next year. Not happening anytime soon because it's easier to train them in good weather than in snowy weather. But yeah, I used to walk the dogs every day. Even if it was dark, I'd put on a headlamp and go walk them on our paths at night when I got home from work. And I really have not been walking, and it's really been bad because I haven't been exercising as much as normal. So kind of got to get on top of that. But no, and going back to foods, Coco, I like strong flavors, but onion's not one of them. I like heat, I like sweet, I like salty, I like spicy, but not oniony. Oh, Lois's German Shepherd is having puppies soon. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. I've never had a dog who had puppies, but we got our dogs as puppies, so not really, really young, at 12 plus weeks, but yeah. Yeah, bobblehead and the nice weather there. The problem here is actually I would be outside if I had more daylight. It's more because it gets dark so early, and by the time I get home from work, it's so dark that what am I going to do outside? I go outside and close up the coops, and that's about it. So I can't wait until our daylight starts getting longer. Our January and February tends to be colder than December most of the time, but the daylight's longer, and hopefully I'll start getting some daylight when I get home from work. But, okay. So Coco has been seeing so many cute Great Dane videos. Yeah, I miss Jello. He was a goof, but yeah, we got to figure out what kind of dogs we're going to get. We're definitely going to, next year we'll probably get some giants. I know Mike wants another St. Bernard, so whether or not I want to get 2 dogs, whether or not it'll be 2 St. Bernards. I do love Great Danes. They are super smart, sometimes too smart. Like they figure out how to open child gates. My sister's Great Dane figured out how to open three different types of gate latches, 2 outdoor gate latches, and then a child's gate. Hi, Helix. You know, the indoor child gate where you have to push with your thumb and then lift up and then push the door open. Her Great Dane figured out how to open those child gates. Smart dogs. Mine was a little too nervous. He was very much a Scooby-Doo, and he might accidentally open a gate, but he wouldn't push through. So, and he wouldn't go very far because he had to be close to me. Anyway, so soon, not too long, not in the winter though. We're not going to get dogs now. But eventually we'll have dogs in the household, and then we'll have puppy videos, and that will be fun. And maybe some training videos. Lois Ann, you should do some training videos, how to train those puppies. That would be good. So anyway, moving through it, I missed something there. Get a nanny cam, yes, when leaving. Yeah, and I probably will have, I had a dog walker who came and let Jello out and would walk him on the property, so I'll probably hire them again when we get puppies, especially at the beginning before they're really house trained. If you get them on, you know, regular schedule going out, then less likely to have those accidents. Plus we tend to crate train our dogs as well, so that definitely helps as well. But yeah, puppy cam would be funny. We might have to set up the camera at times to see what he does, but we'd probably, I don't even know what gender we'll get. We'll probably get girls. I don't know. But no, we'll probably crate train them so that they won't be loose in the house, because we don't want them chewing everything up as puppies. Plus that gives them a nice little den to, you know, be their own place, which I find they're happy with. They often go there when they want, you know, a secure place to go. But yeah, I know giant dogs do have health issues, and mine definitely were on the shorter end of the normal lifespan for giants at this point, because they both died at 5 years old. But we still love our giants. So one thing I would do differently when we get puppies, when we get a giant dog, both of our dogs ended up having bloat. We caught our St. Bernard's bloat in time to get them to the emergency vet and get that taken care of. Hey, Wholesome Roots. Your Great Dane is 14. Oh, that's awesome, because, yeah, I think average age for Danes is about 10. Ours only lived to 5. But, yeah, Jello had bloat, and we asked multiple vets if they would tack his stomach, because what happens with bloat is the stomach twists and the gases can't release. So if you don't catch it in time, it causes a lot of problems. And unfortunately, no one was home when Jello got bloat, and that's why it was so sudden. But what you normally do is, like, if you're getting them fixed or they're going for any other surgery, you ask them if they could tack their stomach at the same time. But the vets that we had, he had 2 surgery. He was fixed, except the vet we had was like the Petco vet, and they weren't set up to tack the stomach. We also, he had a neck surgery because he had wobbler syndrome, and got that taken care of. But the way that surgery was set up, it was such a complex, long surgery, and the position they were going to have him in would not have allowed them to actually do the surgery to tack his stomach at the same time. So, unfortunately, we didn't have Jello stomach tack, which was a mistake. Next time, I will insist that we have a vet who will tack his stomach at a young age, so we won't run into that. Because 1 in 5 Danes actually get bloat at some point, usually later age. But, and that's true, not as common, but still common for other giant dogs too. So your dog's getting really skinny these days. Yeah, Danes tend to be skinny anyway, and I don't know about yours, but mine was not a huge eater. He only ate kind of when he felt like it. So he stayed fairly skinny unless he was on prednisone. When he went on prednisone, he got a big appetite, but otherwise he was a picky eater. Um, yeah. So I'm just catching up on some of those. That's why you wonder if a nanny cam would have helped. Yeah, I guess that would have, except for the fact that Mike was out and about, like doing projects and running around, and I was at work seeing patients. So I don't know if I would have still caught it in time, even if we had a nanny cam. Although I do know the signs of it. Another question: would he have been in front of the camera? Because he wasn't crated during the day. We actually, at that point, were leaving our back door open to the yard with a screen that automatically closes itself, so instead of a dog door, so he could go in and out as he wanted. So I don't know if he would have been in the camera. I don't know if I would have caught it that way. But yeah, I hope your Great Pyrenees lives long and healthy too. Your Pyrenees is sweet. That's the other breed I kind of want, but I don't know. The Pyrenees look like a very sweet breed too, and being kind of livestock guardian dog idea kind of appeals to me. Problem with the Danes is they are hunting dogs, so they definitely still have that hunting instinct in them. Any rabbits Jello would want to chase. If a chicken jumped over the dog fence, our dog's got 2 of them. Our St. Bernard got 1 chicken, and our Dane got 1 chicken at one point. So I was thinking about Pyrenees at one point too. I'm not sure. We're probably more leaning towards Dane and a St. Bernard, but not until next year. We have time to figure that out and look at breeders and all of that too, and whether or not to do rescue or not. I kind of want a puppy though, so sometimes you can't get those as rescues as easily. Your neighbor just got a husky. Yeah, they are pretty, but they do have a lot of energy, and he runs over to your place when he gets out. Yeah, they really do need to run because they're really a sled dog, so they really need a lot of exercise, and they do get hot too. So being in the south with a husky would probably be a little bit hard trying to keep that husky cool. It's my thought, but yeah, huskies are pretty. I do like them, but I like the little bit lower energy dogs. I don't know if I have enough energy for a high energy dog. And Danes and Saints, well, Saints are probably the lowest energy dog out there. I would say they're even lower energy than bulldogs. They're lazy. Plus, a Saint, you can train them to pull a wagon behind you. So, like, you can train them to do work around the gardens and stuff, which would be kind of cool. Oh, are you joining us soon, Mike?
Yeah, for 2 minutes.
Okay, I haven't even gotten to the Clover stuff, but we're just chatting about dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you want in the spring? Hopefully in the spring?
Maybe.
You want a St. Bernard.
I'm fairly partial to St. Bernards. I like lots of dogs, but they're definitely on my favorites list.
Yeah. Yeah. You've always liked St. Bernards, though.
Yeah, I've liked St. Bernard since I was about 2.
Yeah.
So.
Have we planted our red clover yet? We have a ton of it growing wild in our backyard.
I don't think we need to plant much of it. It's pretty available.
I go for, speaking of those walks that we would walk Jello on, I would go for walks and just snack on red clover as I walked, because it's nice and sweet, which is cool.
Yeah, I think because of our sandy soil, we have lots of nitrogen fixers.
Yeah. Because
other things just don't grow.
Yeah.
At first.
We do. It was 40 years ago, this was all farmland. So I'm guessing it's a red clover. Pretty sure. At least that's what our forager said. So I'm pretty sure it's red clover.
The big one's a red clover, but we have the little.
We have white ones too.
Little white clover.
We have white clover too, but we don't have. I don't think we have the crimson clover.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
So Bobblehead likes the idea of a working dog. Never had a dog. Yes. I would definitely get someone, if you get a dog, I get someone to help train them, especially first time around. But I think we'd probably be pretty good on training at this point. We've
had 2 pretty challenging dogs, so yeah. Unexpectedly challenging on both of them, so we're probably a lot better now than than
what we originally were. crimson is a winter annual use as a cover crop there. Well, in our snow, it probably wouldn't grow too well right now here. In the fall, it would. And actually, our red clover is kind of interesting because it definitely starts blooming midsummer, but it keeps blooming all the way until really, I saw it even after frost.
Yeah.
It was pretty hardy.
Well, we get, so the fall cover crops that people start putting in August or so, they're blended with, a lot of them are annual cover crops, so they frost out. They have a variety of clovers in them, as well as other legumes and such. And like I was using one for a little bit. I was using a Michigan State collects native or local stuff, and there's a local seed store that sells bags, and so they have an annual one, so it dies, so you don't have to worry about doing a plow over on it, and it already starts composting. Although we're pretty good with just keeping it, but that wasn't a bad item.
Yeah, I like your idea of what was it? What were you just, Rose? What were you just turning over in your garden on one of your recent videos I commented on, and I'm blanking on what it was now. What was it? It's one of the things that grows so well. Chickweed, thank you. I'm blanking on chickweed. We do have it growing in ours, under our hoop with our greens right now too. But that I love. It's so high in vitamin C. I should do another one on that, but I don't think I have pictures of chickweed. So yeah. Okay. Doggy kindergarten from former state trooper canine. Huh. Now he's a hydrant man. Well, we did have a canine trainer at one point, but I don't think our St. Bernard has some aggression issues, and I don't think his style training worked well for that. We had to, our St. Bernard did not like strangers. Anybody he knew, he was a teddy bear, but anyone he didn't know, he was a grizzly bear. So, yeah. But we now know how to deal with that a little bit better, I think. Hopefully next dogs wouldn't have that issue, but I think this location actually would be better for them as well, because there's not as much street traffic, people walking by stuff.
St. Bernards, we never expected to be aggressive. It turns out a percentage of them are aggressive.
Well, they were used to guard. They were used
so they're more aggressive, although they've tried to breed that out, and we had a new breeding pair. It was a new male. It was the only litter with that one, and whatever case, it had probably some natural or genetic aggression that was not, that breeder did not have aggressive, any of her other dogs were aggressive. You're so right. We got unlucky, but we dealt with it pretty well. But that was, St. Bernards can be aggressive. There's a few other breeds that most of the time are fine also, but can
well, any dog can be, and I don't think it can be whatever environment can trigger it, but it also can just be the personality of the dog. Some of them just really want to guard their pack too much. So, and Boomer was kind of like that. So, and some of them, St. Bernards were often used to guard children and be kind of the babysitter dogs.
They said they were being the babysitter and taking care of them, but in reality, they were actually guarding them sometimes.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, they wouldn't ever hurt the kids.
No.
Not ones that they knew and been raised with.
Yeah. But, I actually have, my computer says 16 watching. That's pretty good. So, we do need to get into the red clover. I did make some red clover tea. But just, if you want to go onto the webpage, I did post a new blog on red clover with a bunch of links to books and some studies and everything like that. I do have my blog webpage listed below in the description, so if you wanted to open that in a separate window, you could get into the discussion, everything we discuss on red clover. So, and actually I'm just going to shift my computer screen if it'll work right. There we go. Okay. So, we have, obviously red clover has a ton of uses. It does grow many parts of the world now, so it is all over zones 4 through 9 here. Probably a little bit outside of that. It does like any sunny areas, open areas, fields, roadsides, yards. It will grow almost anywhere, and it isn't, like we said before, it's a nitrogen fixer, so it's a great cover crop for gardens. You can see a picture of it on my website, so if you're not sure what it looks like, I have a picture that's actually from our backyard this summer. You do have to be careful if you're going to be eating it or making tea out of it, because it does absorb toxins from the ground. So you want to make sure it's in a clean area. I probably wouldn't pick and eat it from a roadside if there's a lot of traffic. But Coco says, hi, Mike. She goes, forgot to welcome you. Anyway, wonder if crimson and red can be used interchangeably. Yeah, you know what? A lot of the studies that I found were primarily on red clover, which is the trifolium. I want to say pretense. I don't know how to say all the Latin. But trifolium, by the way, is 3 leaves, so each leaf actually has three leaflets in it. So that's where it gets the first part of its name. There were studies in some of the reviews that I link at the bottom of the page that actually talk about some of the other clovers as well, but this particular one, the red clover, is the most studied, so most of the information, it comes from that, although they're looking into other types as well. In fact, I did see some things on other types may be better for other things like taking for cardiovascular reasons and stuff. But there's a lot of uses. I mean, farming, obviously, cover crop. It suppresses weeds. It's nectar for bees. It's feed for cattle and other animals, although they shouldn't be eating too much of it. Oh, Mama Grows is here. Hello. Sorry, get distracted. But yeah, the livestock shouldn't eat too much of it because it can cause a little bit of bloat in them. But as a mix, it has high protein. So as a part of feed, people used to have an herbal lawn instead of grass, which I find an interesting idea, where they had clover, chamomile, thyme, and yarrow grown in their lawn instead of grass, which all stay quite green. Yeah, frothy bloat is possible. Yeah, it's just about, basically for feed, you want to limit the amount. But it's a good source of protein, and my chickens love it. Culinary uses: you can eat the leaves raw, cooked. You can have it in salads. You can eat the flowers, put it in salads. You can make tea out of it. I even saw one source saying that you can make clover wine, which would be interesting as well.
Yeah, you'd have to add sugar to it, I'm sure. Honey.
I'm sure. It's slightly sweet, but you need more sugar.
You have to sugar it. But, not with it. Nabi she puts it in her honey.
Yeah, Nabi does put it in her honey.
To flavor the honey further.
Yeah, she puts a lot of flowers in her honey, actually. Your goats love the white clover. Yeah, we do have a lot of white clover, and that's actually mainly what our chickens eat, because in our grassy yard, it has a lot of white clover there. But back on our paths, we have a lot more red clover. And you can, by the way, you can sprout the seeds as well, and use the seed sprouts for salads, or grind the seeds into flour and put it into bread with your wheat flour. So lots of food uses. Might have to try the grinding the seeds.
It takes a lot of seeds.
Probably does. Not for the complete flour, but mix in with your wheat.
Yeah.
That's still a lot. I don't know if it's worth it.
Gathering seeds isn't probably the easiest.
I don't know. I usually pick them and eat them before they turn to seed.
Exactly. Well, then the seeds fall out.
Yeah. But anyway, so as far as medicinal uses, the traditional ones I found, one primary one was to help clear respiratory secretions, so relieving coughs, a lot of respiratory congestion issues. It's an anti-inflammatory, which actually could help along the same idea of helping respiratory issues. It's diuretic, so it's supposed to help clear the kidneys. It can be a gentle laxative, I read, but there's actually magnesium in it. It absorbs magnesium, which is a laxative. it has been used to treat skin conditions. The main thing I saw were for eczema and psoriasis, which is interesting because I have eczema on my hands, which is really hard to treat because the palms of the hands are really tough. They don't absorb much. But I did see treatments topically for that. I've seen treatments. Some people take it in tea over like 4 to 6 week period of times, and it reduces inflammation, which I'm guessing is the main reason why it reduces some of the eczema, because that's also inflammation. Big treatment is for menopause symptoms because it has phytoestrogens in there, so it tends to relieve menopause symptoms as well. It is a blood, well, I saw some conflicting information. It might be a blood thinner, but I saw one place that said it only if it's fermented. So if you dry it and it doesn't ferment before it dries, then it's probably not so much a blood thinner. But if it ferments a little before it dries, then it might act as a slight blood thinner. So people who are on blood thinners probably shouldn't use it. And there have been some talk about it helps treat cancers, and there's some discussion in some of these books that they've used it to treat breast cancer. There's conflicting evidence on that one I could get into a little bit, but it also has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, so a lot of people use it for supplements. Teaching the well, I'm glad that's why I'm figuring I'm looking things up 1 week at a time, one flower or one herb every week. So why not turn it into this and share what I'm reading? The other thing I'm trying to do is back it up with some of the research and try to see what research is out there. There are a whole lot of studies on this and on the isoflavones, which are in red clover, that have it acts like estrogen. These are the phytoestrogens, basically. And that's the reason why it reduces menopause symptoms. In fact, they're actually making medication from red clover extracts as a menopause medication to take. So definitely a lot of evidence on that one. There's some conflicting studies that say it helps prevent osteoporosis, and that's probably somewhat with those phytoestrogen effects as well in the menopause, because when estrogen levels drop, that causes some bone health issues, bone density issues, increase in cardiovascular disease. So with natural menopause, estrogen's dropping. That's why you tend to see those things more often at that point. But it does help prevent some of that. There's definitely studies on how effective the antioxidants are in them. So basically, the antioxidants help prevent cancers in general, help prevent DNA damage. So, new on the subject of red clover, I like eating it. I like snacking on it. It's just subtly sweet. Other studies, there's some antimicrobial effects. They've studied it on some various types of bacteria, the gram-negative, gram-positive, a couple types of each, and some fungal pathogens. So definitely has some antibiotic activity as well. There's studies on anti-cancer activity. They have not found an effect on breast cancer or liver cancer, but they have seen some promising studies, kind of very, very early studies on reducing stomach cancer growth and colon cancer growth. So some cancers it might help, some cancers it might not. In fact, I work at the Cancer Center in Kalamazoo, and they do have a posting on what natural supplements to take, to ask the doctor about and to not take in certain circumstances, and they actually suggest not taking red clover if a person has breast cancer, primarily because one of the medications they give is to block the estrogen pathway completely, and if they give red clover, it's kind of going against that because the phytoestrogens work similar to human estrogen and actually might feed the receptors on those breast cancer cells. So The interesting thing on that, though, from that respect, for red clover is that they do suggest it might help prevent breast cancer because the phytoestrogens don't have as strong of an effect as the natural estrogen. So it actually competes with the natural estrogen at those receptor sites and doesn't cause as strong an effect ahead of time. So for premenopausal women, it would probably help prevent breast cancer. But for postmenopausal women where the natural estrogen drops anyway, it might actually slightly increase the risk. And for women with breast cancer, I would say don't take it. So kind of interesting on that end. They've looked into cardiovascular studies as well, and there's some conflicting things. Some things that says it helps in the hardening of the arteries and preventing that, and other things. So kind of interesting. And Perceiving a Life is here. Hello, we were just going over red clover. If you want to look at the information, I kind of skimmed over real fast. There's a link to my blog site below that has a bunch of information on red clover. Oh, there goes the cat. He doesn't like sneezing. But anyway, we did make some red clover tea tonight. Usually I mix my red clover with some other herbs as well. You've been drinking it. I haven't had any yet.
It's cold.
It's cold by now, but yeah, I did pour it earlier. Yeah, it does taste like clover. I snack on clover. It has this kind of, I don't know, what do you call it, taste? Slightly sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you analyze the other ones. You're better at that than I am.
It's light. It doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
No, that's very light.
And this was steeping for probably about 10 minutes before I poured it, so you could probably steep it longer for stronger flavor. But anyway, I guess one question I'll throw out there is if any of you guys eat red clover or use it medicinally, do you have any other, you love wood sorrels? Yes. I'll have to look up that one.
Sorrel's nice. We use sorrel in the kitchen. More, it's actually becoming
cultivated one.
Yeah,
so.
There's a couple different ones. It's becoming more commonly used in kitchens again.
Yeah, I do like sorrel. Eating sorrel, I'll go out and snack on it. We have it out in our backyard, the wild ones, and some of it's growing in our garden now, which I don't mind because it actually gets about 2 to 3 times as big in the soil in our garden as it would in our yard. But I guess the soil, that's tribute to our soil improving, I guess. But yeah, I do like sorrels as well and the tartness of them. Clover is the red clover is sweet. The other clovers I haven't actually tried too much of, but the other clovers,
White clover is sweet.
White clover is kind of sweet. I don't think as sweet as red clover though. And the one kind of clover you should not eat is a clover called the rabbit foot clover is the only kind you shouldn't eat. So Perceiving a Life said we have wood sorrels, clovers, and creeping Charlie, dandelions, wild strawberries, and chicory growing in the yard. Yeah, you don't have to grow anything. You're growing it anyway. Most of those things. I don't know Creeping Charlie. I know the rest of them, but I actually transplanted some wild strawberries into one of my raised beds, so we'll see how they produce next year. Because I have a bunch of wild strawberries growing near the woods, but it's hard to find ripe strawberries there because the animals eat them first. But that's a whole nother topic. Actually, I have a video, I think, on transplanting those. But any questions about anything on the red clover or rose? Do you have any uses what do you use for it? And I always pick on you because I know you do a lot of foraging. Is Creeping Charlie good for anything? I might have to look that one up. It's creeping into your asparagus, huh? I thought you had the chickweed in your asparagus too. Chickweed grows everywhere. I'm going to have to look up Creeping Charlie. I don't know if we have it here. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I don't know it. So that's about all I have on red clover. I have a request. Any of you guys want me to look anything other than Creeping Charlie up? See if there's any uses for any other specific things. Good for pollinators and teas. Okay. Super high in vitamin C. Well, that's good. I know there's a lot of things actually. Cleavers is another one that's super high in vitamin C, and they often make they used to make tea in the spring because it was an early spring one, and make tea to try to at the end of winter, early spring with the cleavers to try to prevent scurvy. Cool soft ground clover. Oh no.